I bought a broken Gears of War Xbox One X that looks like it's been dropped and destroyed. And I also paid $75 for this broken Xbox One X Robot White that has some interesting problems going on the back. Thank you to iFixit for sponsoring this video. Now let's start this one up and see what's wrong with it. Now it's been so long since I bought this one, I don't even remember what's wrong. Let's see if it starts up. Nope. No power at all. Let's see what's wrong with the Robot White one. Now the seller of the Robot White Xbox One X said it just overheated and that was the only issue, so let's find out. And it won't even turn on. Let's start with the Gears of War and see if we can figure that one out. If you watch my videos a lot, you'll probably remember me trying to fix another Gears of War Xbox One X that I was never actually able to fix. When I saw this one come up on eBay, I thought I'd give this a try because I've got parts from the other one, so I'm hoping between the parts from that one and this one we can make one good unit. Some of the things that immediately come to mind with an Xbox One X that won't power on is number one, obviously it could be a power supply issue, but the power supplies on Xbox One X's aren't really necessarily known to go out. So I'm gonna be looking at things like broken components. On the front power board, I'm gonna look and see if there's any components missing from that. And again, I see no issues on the bottom side of the board. One thing interesting about these special editions is they all have custom sound effects. So this speaker right here is the one that's playing those custom sound effects. So next, let's get the clamp off so we can look at the top side of the APU. Okay, and no obvious problems on the main chip either. So at this point, I'm going to assume that the board is fine. I will need to replace the thermal paste because obviously it doesn't have the perfect amount. So we'll get that replaced and then we'll put it back together enough to test it. And I'm gonna put in a known good power supply to see if that's the issue. And here we go with the perfect amount of thermal paste. Oh yeah, it's like I get better every time. And here's our known good power supply. It's a little dirty, but it still works. Okay, and now with the power supply, the fan, the hard drive, and the disk drive installed, let's plug it in and see if it's gonna work. Okay, and still no power, even with a good power supply. That tells me it's getting more likely that it's an issue on the board, but I'm gonna try installing a new power board and just see if that fixes the issue. Now, before I do that, there is an even easier way to test this button and button board, and that is to try putting a disc in it. So let's check that. Oh, here we go. So it's great to see that we have a display. It's great to see that the Xbox powers on, but we've got to figure out why it won't power on with the power button. And just looking under the microscope, if you look closely, you can see exactly what I think the problem is. If you take a look at R90, there's no component right there. I believe R90 should be a resistor. Usually the R before the number indicates a resistor, but let's check on the board that we know is good. And this is a known good board. If you noticed, R90 is definitely there. So I think the main problem we're having is just a missing resistor on the power board. Now, one of the things I could do is just replace the bad power board with this known good one, but I already know you guys want to see me actually place a resistor right where it needs to be so we can get this power board working. So you'll notice that this end soldered right here, and this I ended up soldering just to this whole fuse right here. That's no big deal. We're not crossing any circuits. This is all in the same circuit. This resistor with the circle on it is a little too big for the area where R90 came out of, but with it connected the way it is, it's gonna work just fine in this circuit. Okay, is it gonna work? Yes! So this Xbox One X is fixed. Let's take a look at the Robot White Xbox One X that somebody left on their stove. So the seller of this Xbox One X said that he gave it to his coworker so his coworker could try and fix the overheating problem for him. Unfortunately, apparently his coworker put it on his stove and turned the stove on without noticing. Now, as I said, this video is sponsored by iFixit. iFixit has, in my opinion, some of the best precision tools around. Not only are they super high quality tools, they also offer a great warranty on them. So even if something does happen to your tools, in most cases, they'll just replace it for free. If you've watched a few of my videos, you've seen me do soldering most likely. iFixit sells pretty much all of the soldering tools that I use on my channel. This screw has broken away from the bottom, I think, so that one's not gonna come up. So whether you're looking for, the best tool kits around, or if you're looking to get into soldering, or even micro soldering, they've got, starter soldering stations all the way up to micro soldering stations. So Pretty much any tool or equipment for this type of work that you're gonna need, you can find right on iFixit's website, and that's just ifixit.com. Wow, check that out. That almost burned all the way through this bottom plastic, and it's just totally warped the whole bottom. But the crazy thing is that you just can't even tell on the actual Xbox. It looks maybe a little melted there, but other than that, this thing looks almost perfect. And with all the screws out, we can get this top metal plate off and have a look at the inside. That's interesting. This piece actually goes all the way over here. This connector's been broken off a little bit. Well, that's our first issue. The clamp isn't even clamped all the way down. Wonder what the chances are there's actually fresh thermal paste under this thing. There is fresh thermal paste. That's amazing. Now, even though this has fresh thermal paste, it definitely doesn't have the right amount. So let's fix that issue first. I thought the amount I put on last time was perfect. I think this might be even better. So now we gotta figure out why this thing's not starting up. Now, right offhand, I know of a couple things that can cause this on and off issue. The hard drive on these can cause it, but more than likely it's a problem with the redriver chip. I'm gonna be using a brand new redriver chip for this Xbox One X. Since it's brand new and has no solder on the bottom, I need to go through and add a little bit of solder to tin the pads. This will make it easier to stick onto the board when I go to replace the chip. The liquid stuff you see me putting on the chip and on the motherboard is called flux, and it simply helps the solder flow. Okay, and with that replaced, let's see if it's gonna turn on for us. Oh no. Okay, now we need to start checking the motherboard to see if we can figure out what's going on. So after looking at this board for a little while, I did find some problems. I don't know for sure if these problems are what is causing this thing to not turn on, but I do know they're not helping anything, so we're gonna repair those next. We have this capacitor right here, and then we have this capacitor right here that's totally missing, and then we have this capacitor right here that is also totally missing. So I'm going to be stealing parts off of another junk motherboard to replace these parts with, and then we'll turn it on and see if that happens to fix it. Okay, and here we go. Is it gonna start up? Oh, we've got a solid white light. But do we have a display? Come on. Up. Yes, so this one is also fixed. If you like this video, you'll probably like my Xbox Series X DIY repair fail video where I take an Xbox Series X that someone tried to fix themselves and I try to fix it on camera. I'll leave that link up on your screen now so you can come hang out and see if I could fix that one. If you're looking for parts, tools, or repair guides, be sure to go to ifixit.com. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have a good one.